Hello, and welcome back to the Follow Your Spark podcast. I am incredibly excited to have a dear, dear friend, Julie Reisler, with me on the podcast today. And before we jump in, I'm going to do something I don't typically do. So, whenever I'm interviewing someone, I will always guide us through a little grounding meditation, and I normally don't record it. And this time I thought I'd give you guys a little behind the scenes view because I know we're going to dive deep into intuition and intuitive practices. And this is an example of something that I use all the time. So I wanted to give you a little preview of that. So, Julie, welcome. Are you ready to drop into a little meditation?
Oh, yeah. I'm always ready, but I'm especially ready right now.
Nice. All right, go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep inhale through your nose. Open mouth, exhale. Another deep inhale. Open mouth, exhale. One more time. And exhale. And allow your breath to come to an easy, natural breath. Noticing where your chest or belly rises and falls with each inhale and exhale. And then go ahead and place your hands over your heart. Feeling your heart beating in your chest, connecting to this incredible life force energy that is always there, always supporting us. And take a moment to invite in the energy of gratitude. Gratitude for where your intuition has guided you in your life, for all of the beautiful sparks that you've followed, and all the blessings that have led you. Let that energy of gratitude expand bigger and bigger and brighter until it washes over your whole body. And then see it get bigger and bigger and brighter until it washes over your whole room. And then see it pass through time and space until it encircles both of us in a beautiful ball of glowing light. And then from this space, we'll set an intention for this conversation. And my intention is always that may we be guided in this conversation to share not only what will support both of us in this moment, but what will support every single person who ever listens to this episode. May it be exactly what they need to hear in this moment. May it spark whatever inspiration or insight they are craving right now. I'll invite you to share anything that's coming through your heart, any intentions that you have for this conversation that you want to speak out into the space.
So beautiful. I would just add, I'm sensing as I connect into my heart, your heart, each and everyone listening connects into their heart, that we are all connecting into the greater, beautiful heart of the divine, and that this conversation speak at the heart level and that it be a blessing for everyone who listens now or at any time, and that it blesses you at every level. And so it
Beautiful.
is.
And so it is. Thank you for sharing. Take one last deep inhale. Open mouth, exhale. Let your hands fall gently to your lap. Begin to blink your eyes open, coming back to the space. All right. So, again, welcome everyone listening to this very special conversation. And to tell you a little bit about this beautiful human who is across the screen from me, you may have heard her before in my podcast. She may be completely new to you. And I have known Julie for probably going on 10 years. I met her originally in a personal development program many, many years ago when I first moved to Baltimore. And she has been such an incredible source of guidance, of support, of friendship over the years and through some of my most challenging moments as well, from breakups to deaths in my family to big career changes, as well as really incredible moments of celebration and growth. And across all of those things, one of the biggest gifts that I've received from our relationship is a deeper connection to my intuition. And she's someone who, in a moment where I was like, I don't know how to connect to my intuition, I don't know how to develop this, you have always been a guiding light and source of inspiration for me. And for that, I am so deeply grateful for you supporting me and connecting to my inner wisdom to be such a guidance and a compass in my life. So, Julie, thank you so much for who you are in my life and who she is in the world. She is an incredible podcast host herself of the USDU, and she's an author, a speaker, and the founder of the incredible Life Designer Coach Academy, now Intuitive Life Designer Coach Academy. She's also been a big contribution to who I am as a coach. I went through her incredible program and have had the honor of being a mentor coach in it. And I'm just so grateful for who you are in the world and for joining me for this conversation today. So welcome, Julie.
Oh, Gina, thank you so much. And as you were speaking, I just could feel the energy in my heart was like glowing. And I'm reminded, your podcast about following your spark, that is truly what I've been honored and privileged to see with you and watch you do. And of course, a stand for all of us to do that. So I'm so excited to be here. Yay.
Thank you. And this podcast is going to air right around the solar eclipse in October, the beginning of October 2024. So we're going to get into some intuitive messages in this conversation. We're going to get into some intuitive practices. And first, I just want to ask you, why is intuition so important to you, especially for yourself as well as for the collective right now? Like, why does this topic matter so much to you?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot, Gina, because it's something that is really it's become one of the most important things that I think about it all the time. And I actually believe for every human being, and especially anyone that's listening, I know like attracts like. If you're here and you want to make a bigger impact in the world or have more agency, more confidence, empowerment, belief in yourself, I feel like a lot of our Western world and society can really play into the ego, right? And play into putting people on pedestals and looking to others for advice and decisions. And oftentimes that takes us out of our own power, our own inner wisdom, our own
Mm,
compass. And so for me, I'll make this short. I'm an experiential learner. That's how I do life.
mm,
That's my curriculum in Earth School is experiential, most of it. I do learn, but I started to see about 15 years ago when I had a major dark night of the soul wake up and realizing I don't feel like I'm on the right path and what is
mm,
happening. And it was my intuition that woke me up, and I started to look and see all the different times that I got a gut feeling, a nudge, a sense, and I didn't listen to it. I think the concern and value of people liking me, of leaning into people pleasing, which look, it's a survival trait that many of us have. That we have a arsenal of them, and there's no judgment. I just started to see as I was doing a lot of work on myself. Interesting. I haven't been paying attention and I haven't been honoring. There's something else
mm,
going on here. And so it's taken almost, 15 years, between
mhm,
leaving a corporate job, starting a business, ending a marriage, starting a new marriage,
mhm,
two children growing up into their teens. A lot of change, going back to school, starting all of the work I'm doing today. And I started to get really curious and realize, wait a minute, when I don't necessarily have to know or understand in my brain or my logical sense or mind why or how something's going to happen.
mm,
However, this deeper inner knowing, wisdom,
mhm,
intuition, we'll talk all about it. When I
mhm,
tune in, when I really honor that, and there are many ways to do that. It can come in many different ways. You see it, you feel it, you sense it. I actually mapped it out. I created like a mind map, a
mhm,
tree, and I started to
mhm,
see, holy crap, my life, it is night and day. I'm on a totally different timeline right now. And I do believe that the question of how may I serve at the highest level? How can I
mm,
honor this greater loving force? How can I be aligned with my heart's desires and purpose? When I asked those questions and I started to listen and follow it, that's our intuition, right? And I saw, my gosh, there's more happening than I can even like my brain couldn't have made this up or make this happen. And I've
Mm,
become obsessed with it. I think of it as our sacred batteries that are included in every human being. It's our birthright. It's a superpower. Many of us are not taught how to use it. So we're walking around not knowing we have these batteries, not knowing how
mm,
to operate it. And it's the ticket to really having the answers that you're looking for. It's the ticket to
mm,
exiting self doubt. It's the ticket to
mm,
feeling a sense of trust in yourself and deep surrender in the best way. It's the ticket to enlightenment and peace. And I don't mean enlightenment at monk on a mountaintop. I mean enlightenment like you feel light in your life. You feel there's a peace
mm,
no matter what. It's the ticket to feeling home in yourself no matter what else is going
mm.
on and to have the answers. And to me, it's one of the most important things we can have is this agency, this knowing, this self-guided empowerment.
Beautiful. So you talked about, kind of pre 15 years ago, feeling disempowered in a lot of ways, having this dark night of the soul and this really strong ego. And it sounds like there was this call of, wait, this is not working. This is not how I want to be living life. And, ruled by, are people going to like me? What are people going to think of me? And you've been on this journey, it sounds, for the past 15 plus years. And especially at the beginning, what helped you begin to make that shift or begin to trust yourself more, begin to tap into this energy of intuition?
Yeah, we all have different entry points, right, into this curriculum of learning. For me, and I think this is the most important thing, is the intention, the desire to really want to love yourself more, to decide
Mhm.
that I'm going to be uncomfortable and that's okay. So it started
Mhm.
over 21 years ago when I got myself into
Mhm.
12-step programs. Addiction for me around food and sugar, that's the main one. And it was an
Mhm.
excavation process. And while that has shifted, and thankfully there's a lot of stability today in how I nourish myself, the what starts to happen is we look at any addiction. And by the way, addiction can be alcohol, substance, food, scrolling on social media,
Mhm.
comparing yourself. It doesn't have to be hardcore. It can be drugs and money and sex. It
Mhm.
can be. But I think whenever we take ourselves out of our own lane, when we start to override our own self, our own inner knowing,
Mhm.
when you start doing that, that's where, for me, this is my story, where I began to disassociate slightly.
Mhm.
And frankly, in a way, like it's self-loathing and self-attack. Even though I didn't mean it at that level, there's a leaving of yourself. There's a leaving of your inner knowing. And I believe that's the foundation of my thyroid health situation that is definitely not only healing, it is almost healed. So starting that first intention is the decision to say, you know what? I'm here for a short period of time on this planet.
Mhm.
I'm going to choose and dedicate myself to really get to know me and love myself, no matter what that looks like, and to
Mhm.
be able to be with all of my emotions and my
Mhm.
inner child self, and to give love and light to the whole of
Mhm.
who you are, mind, body, spirit,
Mhm.
soul, all of it. And that decision in 2003 for me, it's been a long road. However, it's changed my life. And that's where intuition, I believe, is really connected, because that's where we
Mhm.
connect to our heart and our soul, not the ego, not the part that's saying, how am I going to do this? And I'm not good enough, and comparing and despairing and envy and all of those.
Mhm.
It's the part that's, oh yeah, I'm loved. Wait a minute. Let me go there.
Pausing this interview for a moment to say that if you can relate to this, if you too are tired of living with a lack of self love, feeling disconnected from your intuition, and turning to things like scrolling to distract yourself from your feelings, there is another way to live, my friend. The work I get up to with my one on one coaching clients is all about deepening your level of love and trust for yourself, strengthening your intuition so that you can listen for what really matters to you and believe that you have the capacity to bring that to life and have the courage to step outside of your comfort zone and the ability to feel and be with all of the feelings that might come up as you grow and expand and try and fail and learn and celebrate and love yourself every single step of the way. If you too feel like life is too short to be weighed down and held back by critical thoughts, self judgment, and doubt, I offer free consultation calls all about uncovering what's blocking you and holding you back and getting clear on the life you really want to live and what it would take to bring that vision to life. To schedule one of those calls, go to ginacasbaro.com and book a free clarity call. I cannot wait to connect and talk all about the dreams and vision you have for your life. All right, my friend, let's get back to the interview. Yeah, so many incredible things in what you said. And before we press record on this podcast, I pulled a number of oracle cards and I want to share a little bit of the themes that came up because they really resonate with what you were just saying. One of them is this Garden of Venus. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to see the card that I'm holding up, and it's about rest and renewal. And this other one says Root Girl, the Disowned Self. And both of them are very much about self love and tending to this inner child that we might have ignored or neglected or judged, and to be able to come back to that deep self love and to welcome in all parts of ourselves, even the parts that might seem ugly or that we don't like or that we might find a problem with. And I am curious if you can talk more about what do you think is the biggest challenge when it comes to self love? Because I know I definitely see that
Mm,
in my clients. I'm going to imagine you see it with yours, of especially women having this struggle to be loving towards themselves. What do you think is the biggest
yeah.
block?
Well, for many of us, and I can say this as a female and who's experienced life as a female and what I've, gone through, and I've seen this with many, many clients. Number one, for many of us, we're taught to be nice, to be the nice girl, to at all costs, I know for me, diplomacy, making sure everyone gets along. That's a lot to carry and hold on to. And when you do that at all costs, you start to chip away at your own connection to yourself. So I think really getting over this, I think underneath it is this belief that if I do love and honor myself, it's selfish. And of course, I'm a huge fan of Abraham Hicks, who talks about this a lot. And of course, it's the opposite. It's the opposite. You, first of all, you, whoever I'm talking to, you are born as an individuated expression of the divine as you. You're only going to be in you. And to take care of yourself is the most important thing you can do. It is hard to give, truly give from a place of when you don't have that. I think of we want to be of service, but we want to serve from an overflowing cup, not from a cup that's one third full. And so getting over this hump of feeling selfish. And for many of us, that feeling selfish or that arrogance, that's the fear.
Mm,
And it's not that, it's the opposite. I actually think about it as being full in yourself. You've got to be self
mm,
full, full in
mm,
you so that you can be full with others. And that's a hurdle for many of us. I know for me, and I remember when I did a lot of this inner work, there were comments like, wow, you're spending a lot of time on yourself. And I kind of inferred, if you pull the thread more, there were some thoughts that, you're being selfish. And I've seen it as a parent now. I have two kids, that are teenagers. And the biggest gift I really think that one of the biggest gifts I've been giving them as a parent that's constantly learning as I'm going is to be loving to myself. I have a daughter who
mm,
is in a world with a lot of focus on body image and perfection and social media that has filters and all kinds of things that make it feel like you have to be a certain way, and to be loving of myself imperfectly. And that means sometimes I'm sad. Sometimes I made a mistake and I share that. Being human and showing that and being loving to myself, to my body, to my mind, speaking loving words, that to me has more of an impact than probably almost anything else because,
mhm,
they're watching us. But I do think that for many of us, it's really flipping the script. This is not
mm,
selfish. It is self-loving. It is
mhm,
crucial. It is honestly connected to your health. Your body is connected to your mind, of course. And so
mhm,
filling your mind with loving thoughts and compassion. And when you do something that's a mistake, I had a recent situation, you and I talked
mhm,
about it, and it was upsetting. It was an upsetting situation. And I realized I kept trying to people please. That was a
mhm,
default. And
Mm,
why I wanted this person to like get it and like me, and
mm,
I don't know that they will, and that's okay. That is okay. So being able
mhm,
to hold that it's okay, not everyone's going to like us. There's no perfect. Giving to yourself is one of the most loving acts you can do for yourself in the world, and it's
mhm,
changing the beliefs. And then of course as you start to feel the difference, there's only so many words I can say. What I can tell you is, and I've seen this, when you start to really feel filled and full of
mhm.
love, unconditional love, and regulated in your nervous system, in your body, that's been so healing and life-changing for me.
Mhm. Yeah. So it sounds like what you've seen that can hold people back from being able to direct that love to ourselves is society that we're immersed in and the stories and the culture that we're immersed in. So first, just being able to be aware of that. What are the messages that I've internalized of what's good, what's bad, what makes me appropriate or likable or whatever it is, and being able to just bring awareness to those things and ask yourself, do I want to continue to believe these things? And if not, what's a kinder, a different perspective that I can offer myself? And another one of the cards that I pulled, it says authenticity. I can be my true self. Change me, divine beloved, into one who has the courage to be my true self. Allow me to honor my sexuality, my desires, and needs as sacred expressions of your divine love.
Mm. That is what I meant by being your USG, which is funny. I'm wearing that today, but
Mm,
truly, however you want to say it, your most authentic, aligned self, and being willing to say, I'm going to step in that. I'm going to be fully
mhm,
expressed. Some may like it, some may not, and that's
mhm,
fine. That's
mhm.
okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm curious, I know you talked a little bit about it, and if you could say a little bit more about it of how this journey of like intuition supports self-love. Because I can definitely see them going hand in hand in my own life. And I'm curious, even whether clients' experiences or other people that you've seen as people develop this deeper connection to their inner wisdom and
Yeah.
intuitive inner knowing, how does that impact the relationship with self-love?
Gorgeous question. Yeah. Intuition and trusting your intuition is a healing path. It's a path of self love. The more that you learn to trust yourself, to listen, to even say, I'm going to take a moment. This happened today. This literally happened today. I'll share in a minute what happened. To pause, to give yourself the space and the grace to tune into yourself.
Mm,
This is loving. This
mm,
is kind. This
mm,
spending time even asking these questions, listening to this podcast, asking yourself, what do I feel? Doing some of the tools we'll talk about. The more it's building a muscle like anything, right? We build that
mhm,
muscle, and often we need to build the muscle of learning to love ourselves. Many of us didn't have parents that showed us that,
mhm,
or some of us might have. I didn't so much. They were very
mhm,
loving but not so much with themselves. And it is a healing path, because the more that as you trust yourself, as you have full efficacy and agency,
mhm,
what does that also mean? It means that you hold yourself in high esteem, in high
mhm,
regard. And if you're doing
mhm,
that, you're holding yourself in a loving vision, you're holding yourself in compassion. That is a huge component of self
mhm,
love in action.
mhm,
And so for me, it's been completely intertwined. It's interesting. I'm seeing right now the DNA, double
mhm,
helix. One of the strands intuition, one of the strands unconditional love. They go together. And what happens when
mhm,
you have a strong DNA
mhm.
strand? You have well-being. And so it's well-being on all levels.
Beautiful. And three of the five cards that I pulled are about one says rest, one says rest and renewal, the other one says balance. So, that huge message, and I'll read this one that says rest. Resting is productive because it is the way I stay grounded. I need rest to recharge. It's easy to let obligations monopolize my leisure time, but I'm ready to create more space for relaxation. If the only thing I do today is blank, I will feel satisfied. I am ready to create more space for relaxation. I'm excited to spend quality time with me. I will remind myself that I deserve to do nothing sometimes. I am going to rest unapologetically. And this just like resonates with so much, I feel like, of what we've been saying, that both for self love and intuition, it requires spending time with yourself. It requires listening to yourself. It requires believing that you are valuable enough to be a priority, and that rest is valuable, that we don't always have to be doing, we don't always have to be accomplishing, we don't always have to be outward focused on other people, and to be able to bring that prioritization back to us and listening deeply to our mind, body, soul, spirit. And I'm curious if anything else comes up for you when you hear that.
I love what you read and it resonated. It's such a deep level. And what I'm hearing is giving yourself permission. Almost, you go to the doctor, they write a prescription pad, and it's seeing yourself write a prescription that says rest. Rest in itself, like we are in such a hyper productive culture. There, and this has been an unwinding and a shifting for me over the last 10 years. I
Yeah.
mean, especially being a business owner. And
Mm-hmm.
I am learning through experience, right? Health, our bodies, our mind, our energy, our
Mm-hmm.
wealth, all of it is so connected to
Mm-hmm.
what you're talking about. It's funny. I pick rest or something about rest almost every month at the beginning of the month, and I'm like, good Lord, I know, rest, rest, rest. But I think the other part of it is it's more about the to-do list to the to-be list.
Mm-hmm.
And so allow yourself to be at rest, to be in a state of letting go, of
Mm-hmm.
not having anything that you are trying to accomplish at all,
Mm-hmm.
but literally being in the present moment. And that's enough, and I think many of us in our head, we're really tallying up. We're asking, am I enough?
Mm-hmm.
Am I enough? Is this what I'm doing enough? And I don't think it's the right question. It's not the right question to ask ourselves, right? The question I would ask is, how loving am I being?
Mm-hmm.
How loving am I being in this moment to myself, in the
Mm-hmm.
world? And
Mm-hmm.
when I ask that question, what would be more loving? It's usually stop, drop, and rest.
Yeah. So I feel like I hear this so often with clients that have their schedule. It feels like there's so much in it. It's so packed. It's so pressured that the idea of if someone's, oh, stop, drop, and rest, you're like, well, I can't. Like I have so many obligations. I have so many things. And the last card that I'll read that I pulled says balance. And it says, my needs will be met. Change me, divine beloved, into one who can fully offer my schedule to you so my life can be in balance. Let me take rest whenever necessary, trusting that one way or another, all needs will be met. So I'm curious for someone who feels like that pressure of I can't possibly, like my schedule is just so full. Like how might they begin to invite in a little bit more of the
Yeah.
self-love, the rest, the intuition? Like
Yeah.
what comes through for you?
Yeah, right away. First of all, what we're talking about is really establishing a relationship of trust and trusting that you're going to be safe and okay and that taken care of. To me, it's a spiritual answer. It's always a spiritual answer. And a good place to start that's very like a baby step. What I heard immediately is your breath.
Mhm.
Learning to take a few extra deep breaths like we did when we started. You could even, every hour on the hour, 30 seconds of breath,
Mhm.
bringing literally and make that breath. Maybe it's instead of your typical breath that can be usually shallow in the top of our chest, make it a deep, in for 5 or in for 6, out for 6, like really extend it in the belly, out through the mouth, whatever feels good.
Mhm.
Take a few deep breaths and make that part of your new normal. My sense is the best place to start building a shift. And it
Mhm.
also can help, of course, with nervous system and vagus nerve and your regulation. And
Yeah.
to see it doesn't have to be, okay, I'm going to take like a full day off or an hour nap. No. And maybe it is laying down for 10 minutes. Maybe it's putting on a
Mhm.
song and laying down if you can. The breath,
Mhm.
I would start with your breath.
Yeah, I love that you shared that. It's something that a dear friend has been talking to me a lot about. And even I've just been more aware of my own breath and how there's different breath patterns that can increase stress, like breathing in and out through your mouth. It's like, imagine if you're, heightened or anxious or like afraid, like that really like scared breath, breathing like that can heighten anxiety, can heighten stress, can heighten cortisol, versus breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth can bring us back to rest and digest, can lower cortisol, can lower stress. So even in conversations, I'm working on being a lot more conscious of it. And I've noticed that I can tend to hold my breath sometimes or just switch it up. So just notice, bringing awareness to both just taking a mindful pause and also kind of seeing, especially in the moments that you're stressed, how are you breathing? And can you take even 1, 2 deep inhales through the nose, exhale through the mouth, and see what happens?
I think this is where having a coach can also be helpful, by the way, because I know when I'm with clients, I can see this, I can tell, I can hear it.
Mhm.
But if you don't have someone, notice yourself. And especially for those of us, if you've had a panic attack, if you struggle with a lot of anxiety, I also love, this is one that I've learned and teach in yoga, the Ujjayi breath, which is in through the nose and out through the nose. The nice thing is you can do that. No one notices. You don't have to do the whole, it's an oceanic breath. You don't have to like Darth Vader it out. Just noticing where your breath is, I think that's brilliant and a great way to start, because it will shift how you feel. It will
Mhm.
shift how you feel because of the hormones, because of, it can literally bring in more dopamine and lower your cortisol. So it's a big deal.
Yes, 100%. And that reminds me that if someone would love some more guidance on this and a container and support, I know you've got intuition school coming up. And I would love if you could share a little bit about that and how that could be a resource if someone is, I really would love support in cultivating both more self love and a deeper connection with my intuition. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah. So, it's funny. I had taught a course, and it was actually our mutual friend, Mary Beth, was like, Julie, I took your course on intuition like years ago. I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. So it's something, I have Aquarius rising. I'm just going to mark it up to that, chalk it up to that. I've been obsessed with this power, this birthright. I feel, superpower, $1 billion batteries included that we often don't know how to use.
Mhm.
And so in intuition school, this has all been something that has come to me intuitively. I didn't know I was going to be doing this. I didn't know I was going to be teaching this. And the framework came through. I think I told you I had this beautiful interview with a dear
Mhm.
mentor of mine up in the mountains in New Mexico. And I was on a high from that, literally, which, is a state of just gratitude and compassion. And this framework kind of came to me, and I
Mhm.
thought, oh my gosh, yes, like this is
Mhm.
something, it's teachable. You can learn how to use the batteries. You can learn how to do this.
Mhm.
So I'm going to be teaching it live. We're starting on the portal date of 10/10 and we're ending on
Mhm.
the portal date of 12/12. I'm all
Mhm.
about numerology. So I looked and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And it's a 9-week course. And so everything's recorded, all of the framework, worksheets, meditations, groundings, and we're also going to be meeting live. I'll be
Mhm.
leading it live every week
Mhm.
together, and everything is recorded in a portal that you have lifetime access for.
Mhm.
It's interesting to me because this is something, again, when we follow, I've heard it called good orderly direction. If God
Mhm.
or the divine doesn't work for you, or those breadcrumbs, those beautiful like breadcrumbs, this is something, when I've been following my spiritual breadcrumbs,
Mhm.
it's to teach this work and to live it.
Mhm.
And frankly, the more of us that do that together, we share what we're noticing, the miracles, the
Mhm.
manifestations, the magic, the synchronicities. We build our faith muscle, we build our trust muscle, and then we also do it together. And it changes your state, it changes your vibration. So I'm super excited. I feel like this is one of the reasons I'm on the planet, and don't think I realized it until I'm almost 50. So it's taken a long time, but maybe not, maybe it's not that long in the,
Perfect divine timing.
yes, in the land, in the timing of the world, not so long.
Mhm. Oh my gosh, so incredible. I'm so excited for this. And I've been thinking a lot recently about community and like the teachers that I've been guided to over the years. And again, such a deep like connection to intuition of how thankful I am of the sparks that have showed up for me that have guided me to different people and different communities. And one thing that I really appreciate about all the containers that I've ever been in with you are the people that you attract. And speaking of synchronicities and just intuitive collective wisdom that comes through, and I am just so excited to be a part of this community myself, and excited that this is a part of the life designer coaching program now, the intuitive life designer coaching program, because I know you, and it's a very deep part of my work, that intuition is part of the work that I do, because it's not, I don't believe we're not just our minds. We have so many other resources available for us to tap into, the heart wisdom, the body wisdom. And I feel like just working with the mind, the word that came to me is like a disservice, but it's just not all that's possible for us. It's not all that's accessible to us. So I'm so excited that this is also going to be a support for coaches out there who want to be able to add this to their arsenal. So I'm curious how you feel like
Yeah.
that ties in together.
Yeah, no, it's so beautiful what you just said. I know Einstein had this quote, and it was something to the effect of, that we often have it where our heart is a servant to the mind. It's actually completely the opposite. We want our mind, our head, to be in service of our heart. Our heart goes first. And
Mm,
and I mean, actually, not just our heart, like that's lovely of a heart. No, I mean like actual intelligence. It's called heart intelligence.
mm,
Like
mm,
intuition is connected to our body, to the electromagnetic
mm,
field. There's so much
mm,
research there.
mhm,
And I'll share that, so 14 years ago, I went back, I got my master's degree. I got, in health and wellness coaching. It was an integrative perspective on health and well-being in
mhm,
your life. And I
mhm,
was so moved by this work. We studied Dr. Bruce Lipton's work on epigenetics. We studied a lot of the mindfulness greats like
mm,
Tara Brach and whomever. And I just thought there's so much here.
mm,
And this is, I studied and have been teaching for years at Georgetown. I've had clients, and I
mhm,
always felt, we would talk about intuition. You've been in it,
mm,
Gina, both you went through it and then being a mentor coach. And we touched upon it. And then I had a
mm,
student who was courageous enough when I asked for feedback, who was like, Julie, I feel like you're still a little buttoned up. There's more here. There's Monica. Monica's, I want to know what you know. And I want you
mm,
to and I realized, oh my gosh, where am I still holding back? Where am I worried that I'm going to seem
mm,
out there? Woo. I
mm,
think I told you I had this redefinition of woo is wisdom of oneness. I love that. But we have this thing, especially for those of us, I grew up on the East Coast, by literally next to all of the schools like Harvard and Tufts.
mm,
And it was just like going, it's about intellectualism and how
mm,
smart you are, and logic and reason. And okay. And remember Einstein, who was that, who said the mind is in service of the heart, our
mm,
intuition. He also said the intuition is the only real thing. Only real thing. Yeah. There's some other amazing quotes, not just from Einstein, but I do find, okay, you had someone who's pretty smart saying that. I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen. But then I started to realize, Gina, part of being confident and clear as a conscious coach is having a deep trust and a really an intimate relationship with
mm,
yourself and your
mhm,
intuition. And
mhm,
that is when I started to see, wait a minute, I love what I'm teaching. I love this
mm,
work, but something's missing. And I shut it down, this. And I actually wasn't sure what was going to come next, if anything.
mhm,
And then I got, oh, intuition. This
mhm.
has to be the bedrock and the foundation. It's, Maslow's hierarchy of needs,
Yeah.
like foundationally. And we are not taught this, most of us.
Mm,
Your intuition, trusting yourself is everything. And then from there, yes, let's go into the sacred coach approach, the core competencies, the practice of it. Coaching doesn't have to, you don't have to use it full time. A lot of people go through it and use this work within themselves. They do a hybrid of other expertise that they have.
mhm.
You can use in all different ways. It is a healing path. I believe that. And it is a path of self love. And I
Yeah.
love now that they're connected, and even renaming it the Intuitive Life
Mhm.
Designer Coach Academy. It just feels, yeah, I'm going to come out of the spiritual closet here
Yeah.
and say, I believe in this. I live it. I know the
Yeah.
difference. So, yeah, it took something. There's a little bit of fear and a little bit of courage and a little bit of, oh gosh, what are my the buttoned up friends. And that's okay. They may think whatever they're going to think, what they're going to think. It doesn't matter. I know this work
Mm,
works. And I've seen it
mm.
over 15, 14 years now.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so excited that you're letting your freak woo flag
Yeah.
fly.
The woo
You
flag.
know,
Yay.
Intuition and spirituality and this connection, like you said, has been the foundation now of my life that I've connected to this. And when people have asked me, oh, what supports you most as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, it's this. It's my connection to my intuition. It's my connect to my to spirituality. And I'm so grateful and excited that you're sharing more of this work with the world, and know it's going to be so transformational. And in case, listeners, you're listening and you have a question about this, you don't have to be a coach or go through the coaching program in order to join Intuition School, right? You can join Intuition School by itself, or if
100%.
you want to do both, you can do both if that coaching path is the path that you're on.
It's so interesting. I've had a lot of actually people who are coaches who went through other programs and were like, yeah, I didn't really get the foundation. We
Mm-hmm.
have a practicum. I've had therapists, doctors, lawyers, healers. I mean, just a whole teachers, like the whole spectrum. So if you're interested in coaching and you think you'd really love to have that experience and learn to love and trust yourself also, you will get Intuition School Live. That's included. That's free. So if you sign up for the coaching program, it's new and we're going to do it
Mm-hmm.
live. But if you don't, if you're like, nope, I already did that, or that's not for me, totally cool.
Mm-hmm.
Come join us for the Intuition School. It's going to be so magical. And that is 9 weeks. You have lifetime access, but you do not have to do the coaching to do Intuition School. It's your choice.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah.
And I would love if you could share one thing now, because I feel like something that comes up for a lot of people, and I hear this, that we can be inundated with so many different programs, courses, books, choices in general in life. Do you have any kind of practice you could share with someone, an intuitive practice that could help them if they're making any kind of decision, whether it's, am I interested in pursuing this course or anything in life? Do you have something that you could share that could help the decision-making process?
Totally. And it's so funny because I have so many of these. I'm like, which one? And I'm like, nope, we're going to do the body wisdom. We're going to use your body as a pendulum. I just use this, Gina. My daughter is, believe it or not, getting her prom dress early. It's a whole long story. And she was with a friend and we were looking at dresses and her friend was like, I love both of them. And I was like, okay, I'm going to teach you this right now. Her and her awesome mom, who's a physician, who like fell in love with this. So I said, okay, so what you do is, it's better if you're standing. If you can't stand, you can do it seated. You're going to stand, and first you're going to just establish what yes and no is for your body. So
Mhm,
I typically put my hand on my heart. You can have your hands to your side. It's
mhm.
up to you, whatever feels good. And if you can close your eyes, but you don't have to because you might feel like you're going to fall. So if that's the case, keep them open and ask yourself your name. So you're going to
Hmm,
say, is my name Gina, or is my name
hmm,
Julie? And you're going to notice, are you energetically or actually moving in, like towards it, leaning in, or are you leaning away? Most likely, if your energy is not switched, which is typically not, you're going to lean in. Now, you're also going to ask yourself, is my name, and then pick a name that is definitely not your name. Like Gina, you're going to say, is my name Matthew? Random name, right? That's a big no. I can feel myself like, nope. So you want to just establish that yes and no.
mhm,
This is going to help you with everything, right? So I use this
mhm,
with what to eat. I use this with making decisions with almost everything.
mhm,
And you're going to ask yourself, right? Is this decision, it could be, is taking Intuition School, or is going on a date with this person, or
mhm,
whatever it is this in my highest good? I like to
mhm,
ask it that way.
mhm,
And then notice your body. Notice if you lean in, notice if you lean away. It's funny. I asked, should I do Intuition School? And it's yes. But of course, I'm doing it. I'm teaching it. Notice. And if you're uncertain, I would say do 2 more times and keep a little note, tally it.
mhm,
This has never not worked. It has
mhm,
never not worked. And what I love is it's free. You can do this anywhere. I use it for everything. I wanted a
mhm.
second slice of gluten-free toast today. And I was like, not sure. Put it up by my chest. And I asked myself, is it my highest good to have another slice of bread? And it was like, nope. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I made a promise. I didn't want to listen, but I did, because I've made a decision to listen.
Mm.
And
Yes.
I put it back and I was like, okay, gotcha. But I can have a
Yeah.
piece of chocolate because it was okay for that.
Nice. Yeah,
Nice.
I love this tool. I use it all the time. And I think what you said, one thing that I found for me is the question matters, of like how you word it matters. And if you're not getting, is this in my highest good, you can change it around. You can ask it in different ways to see. Maybe there's something that's important to you. You could ask, would intuition school support me in this, whatever this is, or whatever you're trying to decide? You can get specific or, more general, and see if you're getting different answers to really see if it aligns for you and what matters to you in your life right now. Like with the toast, does this support my health? Would this support me to feel energized right now? And sometimes I ask it the opposite too, to kind of like test of, would it support me more if I didn't do intuition school right now? And kind of ask from both perspectives
Yep.
and see if you're getting the same answer by asking it different ways. That's another way I like to kind of test this muscle testing tool, and just see. And it's, you'll learn as you practice any intuitive practice. Try following the directions, see what happens. Try ignoring it. Maybe you eat that toast and then you see, well, I didn't feel so good, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And to be able to bring in that compassion and humanity for ourselves, and know that everything is a learning experience, and we can choose to be loving and kind as we explore these new practices.
Absolutely. And again, it goes back to the more you do this with yourself and you lean in to yourself, the more you're building a relationship with yourself that is loving. And when you do that, that's where I believe the miracles happen, because we are actually tuning in. I am able to connect to greater divine guidance that has a perspective that is way beyond what my human eyes and mind can perceive. We're soul and human. There is greater intelligence always accessible for everyone at any moment. You never have missed out. It doesn't matter if you've never listened to your intuition. If you decide, I want to build a relationship with myself that is strong and foundational and loving and trusting, and I want to honor it, and you do it now, you can do it anytime. It doesn't matter what's happened in the past.
Yes, I love it. Start where you are. Now is the perfect time.
Yeah.
We will put all the info about Intuition School in the show notes so you can get all the details and check in with your intuition, see if it's aligned for you. And oh my gosh, Julie, I could talk to you all day long. And
Yes.
as we're nearing the end of this conversation, would you like to pull or channel any intuitive guidance for us right now?
So funny you said that. As I was getting my glasses, I'm like, I'm supposed to pull a card. I can tell you right now. I'm gonna see what I get with these are my intention cards, the US2 intention cards. I wanna just ask to be guided to pull the one that is for the highest good of everyone listening here, now, and at any time. And this one is definitely so funny. For some reason, the energy looks like, I can't even explain this, looks like my cat. I don't know why. Oh, we started with this. Lovely. So the intention, I'll show it here, is appreciation.
Mm,
That's a powerful one. The intention, appreciation, is a powerful force to focus on. I pause to appreciate all that is happening for me in my life right now. I appreciate that I'm alive, breathing, growing, and learning in my life. So the questions you could ask yourself might be, how can I add more time and attention to what I can appreciate in my life versus finding what is not working? What
mm,
are 10 things I'm appreciating right now? Whom do I
mm,
appreciate? And then I said, if you could share it with somebody that's here in the planet, or if not, write a letter and you could
mm,
share it with them
mm.
energetically. Um,
Beautiful.
so I love that. That is one of the emotions that lifts our vibration. And frankly, we did this in the beginning. You did this with gratitude. It
Mm,
connects us to our intuition when we are in appreciation,
mhm,
when our heart is open. For
mhm,
me, one of the easiest ways, and I'll just say what I'm getting. Okay, so I'm going to share what's coming through, because it's been a powerful time with the eclipses, and there have been a lot of health things and just things happening. We can very easily look at someone, sprained their ankle. My son had to get an emergency appendectomy yesterday. My daughter had pneumonia. She's doing much better, thank God. There's things that can happen. What is so important is that 99% of what is happening within your body temple is working.
mm,
So it might even be, maybe you feel like it's 90 or 85%.
mm,
Focus, and this is what I'm hearing, not from a place of disassociating from yourself or your feelings. I'm not saying
mm,
that. A very helpful and healing reminder is really tune in. So I typically, what helps me is we started with the heart, literally feeling your heart. You have not done a thing to make it beat.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't do anything. You didn't have to pay for it. It's doing on its own. Like, you're going to notice appreciation just starts to grow. Your gut, your digestion, even if you're having issues, it's still happening without you doing anything. Your lungs are taking in oxygen and letting out carbon dioxide right now without you doing anything. You're blinking, you're hearing these words, you're maybe seeing something. So much, I'm using my hands. Like, I have accessibility to thousands of tendons and joints and muscles that I don't think about. I find going into the body temple, now, if that's a trigger, then find something else. It could be a pet, it could be anything, relationship. But I find when we go to our body temple and go to appreciation, there's like a reminder of divine wellness and divine well-being, and that we are part of something greater that is breathing us. I'll just say really quickly, the interview I did with Greg Braden, he reminded us that what is coming through, that what this is like in Sanskrit and Aramaic and Arabic and Hebrew and cuneiform, is God, the eternal, love, the eternal, is in my body. Like, every cell, trillions of cells, the divine is you, is in each of your trillions of cells. And so even as I'm talking about it, I can feel this welling of like, damn, we are powerhouses. Like, we're so incredible. We are so wow. We are gifted with breath, with life, with health, with something that is working. And that is a great way to really shift and lift your appreciation, and that is connected to your intuition.
Mm,
So that's what helps me. That's what I'm hearing even in this eclipse time, is focusing, making sure you're really and scanning your body, and
mm,
even sending flares of love. And if there's a flare up of maybe you have a sinus infection, you've got something else going on, send that flare with your heart. I call them heart flares, like flare with your heart, send love and compassion and light. We have this ability to heal within ourselves. In addition to
mm,
intuition, we have healing abilities. All of us, we all do. I believe that. So that's what I'm hearing is, don't forget the divine power that is you, that's within you, within your hands, within your thoughts, within your heart, within
mm.
all trillion of your cells. That is the reminder that with the bedrock of each of us is well-being.
Incredible. And I know I've had some health challenges the past couple weeks. And I know that, especially, when something is uncertain or unexpected, this feeling of like panic that can arise up, or I've seen within myself, I've seen with other people, and just the reminder that even if one part of our body is hurting or we're experiencing something, like you said, to be able to tap into the wellness that is still there and find appreciation and gratitude. And one thought I always go back to when I'm not feeling well is I appreciate my body's ability to heal. I believe in my body's ability to heal,
Yeah.
and to be able to remind myself of that. And like you said, bring in gratitude and appreciation, even when we're experiencing a challenge in our body, a challenge in our life,
Yeah.
to be able to also remember the things that do feel good, that are working, and hold space for the challenge or the discomfort at the same time.
Yes. Can I add one more quick thing that came to me
Yes.
really fast? That when so for example, I've been in this healing journey with my thyroid, right? And the big shift that helped me was to stop calling it my thyroid. This might sound
Mm,
strange, but I say it's ours. It's
mm,
ours. It's the divine and mine, that
mm,
there is a
mm,
greater power that is working with me and through me. And through that power, you know, not only is it's fierce, it's strong, it's
mm,
got that. I'm not saying things I don't believe, because I can
mm,
tell you when I connect in to this higher guidance and power, I can feel, oh, it's our thyroid, it's our
mm,
liver, it's our digestion. It's so if that helps you, that helps me a lot to feel like I am being enveloped. We're being enveloped by
mm.
this loving, healing force that I don't have to understand. I just know it's
Yeah,
there. It's in my cells. It's beating as you. And it's easy to go to panic. It takes something to pause and really go to love
yeah,
and to calm.
yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for sharing that. And is there any other intuitive messages that are coming through, or cards that you want to pull, or does that feel like complete with that message?
Yeah, I have two more ducks, but that feels really complete. I think the
Yeah.
last piece would just be don't underestimate the building trust with yourself. And, whether you do intuition school or not, like seriously, make time for you to get to connect with and love up on you. The
Yeah.
most important relationship is between you and you. And
Mhm.
that union connection, relationship, everything is going to be a mirror of that. Because I'm seeing
Mhm.
a 360 mirror, and just get anything you're seeing in your life is going to reflect the relationship with you and yourself. I
Mm,
believe that.
mm,
And
mm,
so intuition is the guide that is going to help you to really love and honor yourself and to have a mirror
mhm,
that's reflecting things that you really want to have happen and see, and beyond that, and beyond that.
mhm, mhm. Beautiful. And what came to my mind as you were speaking, and one of the biggest intentions for this season of the podcast was to really bring people on who are sharing, following their spark, of course, and doing it in a way that is making a really big difference on their community, on humanity, and what you just said of when we have more love for ourselves. Like it starts internally. And I know so many people who are thinking of, okay, how can I make a difference in the world? How can I make a difference in all these big challenges that are going on or these tragic moments or whatever it is? It's the first step is if we want, and it's as cliche as this is going to sound,
Yeah.
if we want to see more love in the world, how can we express more love for ourselves? And that self to self relationship can feel challenging sometimes. I know sometimes it's easier for people to give love to other people than it is to ourselves. And if we can start with ourselves and build that deep connection, that deep reverence, that deep care and love for ourselves, and then also that's going to trickle out and impact humanity. So, is there anything else that you want to say about that before we close?
Well, what came to me is so beautiful. And I don't know who says this, but to remember, just like, I just was reading this today, in one drop of the ocean water, it is the ocean. And one sand, kernel of sand, it is the whole amount of sand. You are the world.
Mhm.
That's like a great song from the 80s. We are the world. But no, don't underestimate it. It's so easy to go into every day, ho hum, la la la. I've got this on my to do. No, no, no. Get yourself out of this like trance and remember the relationship with yourself, love to yourself, compassion to yourself is where it's at. And what the best thing you do is track it,
Mhm.
watch what
Mhm.
happens. The more
Mhm.
my whole life has changed by being more loving to myself. I mean,
Mhm.
don't take it from me or from you, Gina. Try it.
Mhm.
How absolutely absurdly loving and kind can you be to
Mhm.
yourself? And that
Yeah.
means forgiveness. Forgiveness, we didn't talk about that, but that is at the core. Often
Yeah.
we're walking around with shame and blame and judgment. Forgiveness is crucial. And it might say, I wish I did that differently. Great. Then do it differently next time. You are human. The last I looked, none of us, there is no perfection. It doesn't exist. Even in the divine upper higher realms, you look at nature, it's always evolving and changing, and so are we. Give yourself that grace, but that is really, really important, is forgiveness.
Mm.
And as you do that, as you build your capacity to be forgiving and loving and kind to yourself and not tolerate shitty judging thoughts. I mean, I'm working on this every day, right? I'm not there.
Yeah.
Then watch out, then watch the outer, watch what happens. And don't be, I don't know who said this. There was a really beautiful scientifically backed study that shows that it's like only a small percentage of us being tapped in a higher consciousness of love can
Mhm.
actually create a tipping point in the world.
David Hawkins.
David Hawkins, and I think someone from the Heart Math Institute looked at
Mm.
it from a heart intelligence perspective, but yes, exactly.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
that moves me. That's part of what I'm doing, why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because if you really
Yeah.
want a different world, then be all in and don't worry about anybody else. Worry about, and I'll say not worry, love up on
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
Beautiful. What a powerful message. And it, came through so strong in all the ways in all of our conversation of this, the themes of self-love, the themes of rest, of authenticity, of spending time with yourself in a caring, loving, compassionate way, and knowing that when you do that, you have a profound positive impact on the world. So thank you again, Julie, for being here today and for all the beautiful work that you do. I'm so grateful for you. Is there any last message that you have before we say goodbye?
I just am so grateful to be here. Thank you for bringing me in. And I want to say to everyone who's tuning in, so much love. So much love. It took something for you to choose to be a human here and now on the planet. And from my heart to yours, thank you, love you,
Mm,
and namaste.
thank you.